Okay, so we're diving deep into retirement today,
Yeah.
and we've got a whole bunch of sources
Mm-hmm.
that take this kind of like humorous,
Yeah.
almost morbid look at it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we're going to unpack some of those anxieties and see if we can't get you some
Yeah.
empowering stuff out of it.
Exactly.
I think it's interesting that they use humor
Uh-huh.
to like talk about this.
It is interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of scary, right?
Yeah. I mean, it addresses these universal fears we have about retirement
Right.
by using humor. So it's kind of like shining a light on all these hidden anxieties and saying, hey, let's talk about this.
Yeah, exactly. Like one of them is called "Retirement is Just a Step or Two from the Grave,"
Yeah.
which is a little
A
dramatic,
little dramatic.
but definitely gets your attention.
It does.
Well, have you ever felt like that?
Well, I think that's why the sentiment resonates with
Right.
so many people,
Yeah.
because there's this fear of the unknown, right?
Yeah, and also I think there's this fear of losing your purpose
Absolutely.
when you retire.
Yeah, you spend so many years
Yeah.
defining yourself by your career
Right.
that it can be really scary to think about, like, well, what comes next?
What's my identity now?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this source really dives into that fear of losing your identity,
Okay.
but makes this really interesting point.
Okay.
It argues that retirement isn't about loss. It's about reinvention.
So it's not the end, it's like a new beginning or...
Exactly. A new chapter. It's an opportunity to explore
Okay.
new passions, maybe even a whole new career path.
Like a whole new career.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
They even call it your next big hustle minus the daily grind.
So it's still a hustle, but it's
Right, but without the grind.
without the daily grind.
Exactly.
So what would you do, listener?
Yeah, like what comes to mind for you?
Yeah, if you thought about that.
What have you always wanted to do,
Right.
but never had the time for?
I love that.
It's a great way to reframe it.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it's not about slowing down, it's
No.
about shifting gears.
Okay, but what about being bored?
Yeah.
Like a lot of people are afraid of just being bored all the time.
Right, that they'll have nothing to do.
Yeah.
And that's another common misconception that they tackle head on.
Okay.
One of them uses this phrase, you know, the last mile on the treadmill of life,
Okay.
but then immediately challenges that idea by saying, well, it doesn't have to be that way
Right.
unless you let it be.
Right. You still have the power.
Exactly. It's all about mindset.
Uh,
If you approach retirement with that sense of curiosity
okay.
and openness to new experiences,
Uh-huh.
it can be an incredibly fulfilling time
Okay.
and stimulating time.
So you have to set goals,
Right. They emphasize that.
even in retirement.
Even in retirement, yeah. Although maybe not the kind that we're used to. Like
Yeah.
one uses this hilarious example
Yeah.
of someone wanting to climb Mount Everest at 68.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm going to be climbing Mount Everest.
But the point is,
Okay.
retirement isn't about checking things off a bucket list or trying to, you know, cram in everything you missed out on
Right. Yeah.
while you were working.
Right.
It's about finding activities that
Yeah.
bring you joy and purpose at this stage of your life.
So what are some like realistic goals
Yeah.
that we could be setting?
They suggest thinking about what truly matters to you.
Okay.
Maybe it's spending more time with family,
Okay.
traveling, volunteering,
Mhm.
taking up a new hobby, or even starting a small business.
So it's about what gives you meaning. Right.
Absolutely.
And then pursuing that.
Exactly.
Okay, cool.
And that brings us to this really interesting character
Oh, yeah.
that one of the sources introduces,
Okay.
Dr. Samantha Smith, a life coach.
Yes. Dr. Samantha Smith.
Who specializes in life transitions.
What did you think about her?
I found her perspective incredibly valuable.
Okay.
She talks about shifting our perspective from loss to opportunity,
Yes.
which I think is so crucial when thinking about retirement.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you think, listener?
Yeah. Do you agree? I think
Yeah.
it's so important
Yeah.
because, yeah, you're moving away from something,
Right.
but you're also moving towards something.
Exactly.
She had that great line about
Yeah.
retirement is a chance to script a brand new chapter.
Yeah.
It's like she's giving you permission
Exactly.
to rewrite your story.
And she emphasizes that purpose isn't tied to a paycheck.
Right.
It's about finding ways to contribute to the world
Uh-huh.
in a way that feels meaningful to you.
I think that's so empowering.
Yeah.
So we've Like, talked about some anxieties, laughed at some of the morbid stuff.
Yeah.
But we've reframed our perspective a little bit, but they also get pretty practical
Right, yeah.
about how to make the most of retirement.
Oh, definitely.
There's a lot of actionable advice in these sources
Yeah, there is.
about, like, setting goals,
Yeah.
staying connected, and even exploring encore careers.
Encore career.
What parts of this are you liking so far?
Yeah, listen
What's
to...
jumping out at you?
What are you thinking? So, as we dig a little deeper,
Uh-huh.
one thing that keeps popping up
Yeah.
is this idea of, like, confronting,
Uh-huh.
even laughing at
Okay.
some of the morbid realities of
Well, that's
retirement.
like the elephant in the room.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But with a wink and a nudge.
Okay.
Like, for example, one talks about how some people
Okay.
seem to have health crises,
Oh,
like almost right away.
really?
Yeah. Like, boom.
Yeah, and it presents it in this kind of darkly humorous way.
Okay.
But it raises a good point.
Yeah, like, oh, I can finally relax.
Yeah.
And then boom.
Health scare.
Yeah. But the source is quick to point out
Good.
that correlation doesn't equal causation.
Right, right.
Just because something happens after retirement
Uh-huh.
doesn't mean it was caused by it.
Okay.
We all age,
Right.
and health challenges are a part of life,
Yeah.
regardless of our work status.
But maybe the stress
Yeah,
of, like, changing your routine
that's a really good point.
can be a shock to the system.
It could be, yeah.
Yeah.
And that highlights how important it is
Okay.
to be proactive
Uh-huh.
about our health and
That's-
well-being.
In retirement.
In retirement, yeah.
So it's not just about relaxing.
Right. It's not just about taking it easy. It's about creating a lifestyle
Okay.
that supports both our physical
Right.
and mental health.
Okay. So that's part of that.
Yeah,
Scripting a new chapter
it could be. Yeah,
that Dr. Smith talked about.
exactly.
You know, making sure you're healthy
Uh-huh.
so you can enjoy it.
Exactly.
What about the whole bucket list thing?
Oh, yeah.
The things you're going to do when you retire.
The when I have time.
Right. And
Yeah.
then, you know,
One even jokes about realizing that you might not be physically capable of
Ah.
climbing Mount Everest at 68.
oh, yeah,
Yeah.
that ship has sailed.
It raises a good question.
Yeah.
How do we navigate
Yeah.
those aspirations that may no longer be realistic
Right.
or even desirable
Right.
as we get older?
Maybe instead of climbing Everest,
Right.
you go for a nice walk.
Exactly.
again.
It's about finding joy and fulfillment
Huh.
within our current capabilities and circumstances.
Okay. So it sounds like flexibility is key.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Being open to new possibilities
Yeah.
and adjusting our plans as needed.
Yeah. So that goes back to what
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Dr. Smith was saying.
Yeah, remember how she talked about retirement not being a destination,
Right.
but an opportunity to write a new chapter?
Yeah.
Well, sometimes that chapter
chapter.
takes unexpected turns.
Right.
And that's okay.
It's all about the journey, not the destination.
Exactly.
But one of the sources
Yeah.
gives some pretty practical advice
They do, yeah.
for navigating this.
They get into the nitty-gritty of things like setting tangible goals,
Okay.
staying connected,
Uh-huh.
and even exploring those encore careers we mentioned.
Oh, yeah. Let's get into that.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Because, our listener
Yeah.
wants to put all this into action.
Right.
So let's start with setting
Oh,
goals.
Goal setting. They
Yeah.
really emphasize
Okay.
breaking down those big dreams
Huh.
into smaller steps.
Like, how do you eat an elephant?
Exactly.
One bite at a time.
One bite at a time.
So instead of, like, I want to travel the world,
Right.
you start with a
Yeah,
weekend trip
exactly.
Yeah, it's
It's about creating momentum.
and a sense of accomplishment.
What are you thinking, listener?
Yeah.
What are some little steps you can take?
Yeah. What are you thinking about?
And then staying connected.
Staying connected.
A lot of people are afraid of that.
Yeah. They're afraid of being isolated
Yeah.
and losing touch
Yeah.
with friends and colleagues.
Especially if their work was their social life.
Especially, yeah.
But they give a ton of good advice
They do.
for that.
Yeah. They talk about joining clubs and groups,
Okay.
volunteering, going to community events,
Yeah.
even just making an effort
Okay.
to connect with friends and family more often.
And using technology
Right.
to stay connected.
Yeah. Online communities,
Mm.
social media can be a great resource
Yeah.
for that.
What about for those people
Yeah.
who are worried about how to fill their time?
Yeah. Remember those encore careers?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me more about that.
So an encore career could involve Part-time work.
Right.
Consulting, freelancing,
Uh-huh.
mentoring,
Okay.
or even starting your own small business.
So it's not necessarily
Right.
going back to the 9 to 5.
Right. It's about finding ways
Yeah.
to use your skills and experience
Uh,
in a new and fulfilling way.
what are you passionate about, listener,
Yeah.
that you could explore?
It's about finding that sweet spot
Uh-huh.
between passion
Yeah.
and purpose.
And then they also said,
You know what else they emphasize?
what?
Having fun.
Yes.
They remind us that retirement is a time
Oh,
to rediscover the things that bring us joy
okay.
and explore new passions.
So it's not all about being productive.
Exactly.
It's about enjoying life.
It's about enjoying life, yeah.
So that goes back to
It does, yeah.
what Dr. Smith was saying.
Right. Shifting our perspective from loss to opportunity.
Yeah.
It's not about mourning what we're leaving behind,
Uh-huh.
but embracing the possibilities
Right.
that lie ahead.
So they're saying that retirement doesn't have to be a decline.
It doesn't.
It could be a time of renewal and growth
Exactly. A time of reinvention.
and reinvention.
Yeah.
I think that's so powerful.
It's
What are
not-
you taking away?
Yeah,
on my
Samara,
head?
it's resonating with you so far.
We've really explored a lot
We have?
about retirement.
Yeah.
But most importantly,
Uh-huh.
we've seen all this potential.
It has.
The potential. Yeah. It doesn't have to be scary.
Not at all.
So how can our listener put this into practice?
Well, remember those practical takeaways
Oh,
we were
yeah.
talking about?
Setting goals,
Yeah.
staying connected,
Exactly.
encore careers.
Yeah, all that good stuff.
Those are just the tip of the iceberg.
The tip of the iceberg.
Wow.
Yeah, let's dive a little deeper.
Okay.
I know our listener is ready to take action.
Yeah, I think so.
So let's start with goal setting.
Okay.
They really emphasize breaking down
Yeah.
those big dreams
Yeah.
into smaller steps.
How do you eat an elephant?
Exactly, one bite at a time.
One bite at a time.
So instead of saying, I want to travel the world,
Right.
maybe you start with planning a smaller trip.
Like a staycation even.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or exploring a new part of your own city.
What are some small steps you're thinking about, listener?
Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
coming to mind?
Yeah, what are you thinking about?
What about staying connected?
Staying connected, yeah.
That can be scary.
It can be,
Yes.
especially if a lot of your social life
Yeah.
revolved around work.
Yeah, exactly.
But they offer a ton of advice
Okay.
about that.
Okay.
They talk about joining clubs and groups,
Okay.
volunteering, going to community events,
Yeah.
or even just making an effort
Okay.
to connect with your friends and family more often.
I love that they also say,
And don't forget technology,
yes,
online communities, social media.
right.
Those can all be great resources.
And then for those people who are worried about filling their days.
Remember those encore careers
Oh, yeah.
we talked about?
Tell me more about those.
So, an encore career could be
What?
part-time work, consulting,
Mm-hmm.
freelancing, mentoring,
Okay.
or even starting your own small business.
It's about finding a way
right.
to use your skills
It's-
in a new way, in a new and fulfilling way.
Yeah, what are you passionate about, listener?
Yeah, what are you thinking about?
Is there something that you've always wanted to do?
Yeah.
And now you could?
Exactly. It's about finding that sweet spot
Uh-huh.
between passion
Okay.
and purpose.
They also emphasized,
And you know what else they said?
what's that?
Have fun.
Oh, of course.
They remind us that retirement is a time
Yeah.
to rediscover the things that bring us joy.
Right. It's not all about productivity.
No, it's about enjoying life.
So that goes back to
It does.
Dr. Smith
Yeah.
and what she said.
It's about shifting our perspective
Right.
from loss.
Opportunity. It's the opportunity.
Yeah. So what's your biggest takeaway from this
Yeah. Listener, what are you going to carry with you?
as you think about retirement?
Remember, this isn't the end of the story.
Yeah.
It's the beginning of a brand new adventure.
It's exciting.
It is.
And you get to choose
You do.
what that looks like.
You get to write your own story.
I love that.
Yeah.